Hey my scrappy friends, welcome to my channel today. So today's share is for Cut To You, and I am using the very awesome superhero cut file. I'll make sure I link it in the description box below. I am scrapbooking this photo of my two children. This is the first year that they've been at the same school, so the first time that we've ever been able to have sibling photos. I was very excited. I love the photo, and I've come up with a title idea. And it is Not Every Superhero Wears a Cape. I have very briefly touched on my oldest boy and some of the things that he has to deal with on a daily basis, and we've recently had some stuff happen for my little guy, and I just really wanted to use this cut file, and I wanted to use it in a different way. So that's what I'm running with. I pulled these silver stickers out of my stash. This is from the Heidi Swap Wolfpack collection. This particular paper is called Woodland. This is how I've come up with my idea so far to do this page. This part is also from the cut file. I was going to first do that, and then I was going to use this. And then I decided that I'm going to cut this so it's a star, just a star by itself. I'm going to fill it with some sequins. I'm going to make this into a sequin pocket as well. A little shaker, and then I'm not really sure where I'm going to go from there. I do want to start with some splatters though, and I'm going to use this sequin mix as a place to start with my colours. So I'm going to pop you on fast forward, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I am back, and as you can see, I am starting with my splatters. I've, like I said, picked colours to match the sequin mix that I'm using. First up is the Dilutions in White Linen, and you can see I'm just adding lots of splatters. I'm not sure if I do it on camera, but after all this dries, I go back in with more white because I just wanted that extra pop of colour and pop of lightness. I have sped this up super quick for you because it's not all that exciting and it is rather repetitive, so I have sped it up super quick. Next colour I'm using here is a Shimmers product. It's Inklings called Minor 49er. Just giving that a good stir, and I end up watering this down a tiny bit more because it's a little bit too thick to splatter. I'm going to smush that onto my mat, add some water, and then it's good to go. Again, I'm just going to add lots of splatters. So if you've been paying attention, I've used silver alphas because the Wolfpack collection does have a lot of silver in it, but my sequin mix has gold in it. And I'm quite happy to mix my metallics, it doesn't bother me. So I'm just running with that, I'm adding the gold. Next up I have got another Shimmers product. This is Colour Rings, a shade of grey. So that is a grey colour. Again, I'm just splattering that on. And then this last one is Heidi Swap Colour Shine in Tinsel, which is a silver. I really love, it's not a lot of mixed media, but I really love this mixed media in the background. So I'm going to pop that aside to dry. I have now pulled out, I'm using the exact same colours, but I'm using a paintbrush this time. I forgot to mention, I cut this whole cut file, so you would have seen that in the beginning. I cut the whole cut file on a 12 by 12 piece of white cardstock, and I just opened the file in my Silhouette software and enlarged it to fill the whole sheet of paper and just cut it. I have had this cut for a little while. I just love it, and I'm so excited that this is the cut file that I'm using. And I just cut it on white because I figured that was pretty versatile, and so I'm running with that. I'm even doing the white, the power with the white. It gives a little bit of a different finish. So I just wanted to include that because the paper that I'm going to be putting these onto is more of a cream base. You can see I'm just soaking up some of the extra mist and cleaning up my space. I used my heat tool to dry those words off a little bit before I moved them so they didn't tear, and pop those aside to dry, and now I'm going to come in and create my shaker pocket. So you can see I've just cut off the circle bit. I'm going to stick this one to some acetate. I'm not sure. Just using, I'm using well, it turns out to be too much glue because I shift the cut file when I stick it down, but I am using a fair amount of glue because I don't want it to come off. You can see I'm just using the white to clean that up. And then I'm going to cut a smaller piece of acetate to go behind the star in the word superhero, and you can see I'm just sticking that down there. I'm going to pop those aside to dry. And here is my cut file all backed. No. So what I did is I flipped over my cut file to the back. I flipped over the pattern paper to the back, and then I traced around the edge. Now obviously you can do this in your Cameo, but because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, I never saved a file or anything. But you can see I have just gone around and cut that as one piece and then stuck it down. Now I want to create my shaker pocket here. I had to do a little bit of surgery to this first layer of the shaker pocket because I cut my star a little bit too big, so there were some gaps. But you can see I'm just going around all of those sides with this thin foam just to make sure that my sequins don't go everywhere. I'm going to do the same with the bigger star here, which I do not make you watch. I am just getting some paper to back these little shaker pockets with. I wanted to make like these almost standalone embellishments rather than have the background paper as the backing of the shaker pocket. Just going to trim that out. I'm using my baby powder so that the sequins don't go all staticky. I'm just going to dump them in. This pack is by Spiegel Mum Scraps and it's called Total Coolness. I really love it. It's got some little blue and some little white stars. It's got some gold. It's got some black. And it was where I got my colour inspiration for the colours in my background. And I also decided that this sequin collection works really well with the Cocoa Vanilla Studio Boys Rule Collection, which is what I have used to back my title cut file. So you can see I'm just sticking those down. I've done the big star and I've smooshed my black gesso tub on top of that so it dries and does not move. I'm going to pop the other one aside to dry. And you can see here, this has dried beautifully. I love it. I also added splatters. This is the other paper that I'm using, and it's where I'm going to add my journaling. I'm just showing you here that I've got the other 6x12 in case I need it for the journaling. And this is my background all dry. So the photo I'm scrapbooking today, I already mentioned, is of my two boys from school this year. I mentioned too that I wanted to use this cut file in a non-traditional superhero way, and with the things that my boys have to deal with on a daily basis, I kind of look at them and go, wow guys, I'm really proud of you and I really want you to know that. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. I haven't added my journaling yet and it's not anything that I'm going to share online. It is going to be, I think what I'm leaning towards is a bit of a letter from a mum to her kids, and I'm quite happy for it to sit openly in the album. I figure that if you're in my house and you are looking through my scrapbooking albums, then you care somewhat about my family. So if you want to take the time to read it, you can. But it is, I'm fairly certain that it's going to be quite personal, not something I want on the internet, and it is something specifically for my boys. So I will probably draft that out and then redraft that out and then probably redraft it again and add that to that paper before I actually write on the paper. But that's my intention for that other page. So I'm using the Cocoa Vanilla Studio Boys Rule 6x8 paper pad, and I'm just adding in a few different layers behind my photo. I started with that bluey greeny coloured watercolory paper, and then I've got this grey and white messy stripe. You can see I'm distressing the edges, And then I really like that, that pop of lime green. I really like how the Wolfpack collection and this Cocoa Village Studio collection work beautifully together. So you can see I'm just distressing the edges, adding all my layers. You saw at the beginning that I was going to use the star shaker at the top here, and then I very quickly realized that, there's not going to be enough room for this to work in a way that I like. So I'm going to get to work sticking my cut file down. No, not my cut file, my title. I am trying to get this lined up so it's in the middle of the page, and I don't make you watch all of it. You can see I've pulled out my T-square ruler, and I'm just lining that up where I'm happy with it. And I'm like, I cannot get this star to fit how I wanted it. That's okay. I have a 6x12 layout that's going next to it where it can work. Do try it in a few different places. And here I am. So I've done some stitching through those silver alphas, and I'm going to stick down my my photo here as well. Okay, so next up I'm showing you what I ended up doing with the Star Shaker pocket, because I couldn't get it to fit on this side. I've also added in the J and H silver alphabets, and I haven't stuck this down yet. I'm going to do that now. So you can see I pulled out my T-square ruler again. Here I'm just measuring the size of the photo. For anyone curious, this is one of the original photos I got from school. When I ordered the sibling photos, I ended up with 3 copies. I got 2 this size and 1 bigger one. And for this one, I wanted to use the smaller photo because there's the journaling that goes with it. I probably will end up scrapbooking the other one, which talks about the photo itself, and the fact that it was their first school photo together. But I have used the original here. It's about 3.5 by 5 inches, and I used my T-square ruler to line it up straight, but also in the middle. Pulled out the Heidi Swap 6x12 sticker sheet. You can see I've chopped off the top part of a journaling tag that says love this and stuck that into my layers. Then I saw this little tree that has the go forth on it. I was like, yes, I'm going to use that. Thought, well, if I'm using the trees, maybe I can add a few more in. So I've got 2 on the left and 2 on the right. Bring another one in to pop on top of the photo there. I'm just layering those up. I really like how that looks. I did try to bring in another one, and then I decided I didn't like it. Kind of put the balance of the page off. You saw too that I trimmed off the white border around that tree with the writing on it. I've also trimmed off the border of some silver stars from the same sticker sheet and off those sticker trees as well. I've cut off part of that die cut at the top. I can't remember what it says, something about being new. And you can see on the photo I've got some stars there. I've gone through the ephemera and pulled out all those little silver stars, and so now I'm just going through and sticking everything down. I've got 3 little silver star stickers that I've trimmed the white border off. I'm going to strategically place those 3 and shuffle them around a bit because, you know, perfect placement and all that. And then with these other ones, I put a couple aside so I can include them on the journaling page. And then I just decided I was going to sprinkle these and kind of just stick them down where they land. I include this little puffy sticker, and I cannot remember what it says, but the sentiment worked perfectly, and it's got the little trees on it, and it goes just up there. I'm umming and ahhing what else I can add from those puffy stickers. I'm going to add in some hearts. I go with 3 of them. And you can see on the bottom right of the page there, I have pulled out some sequins. I'm going to use these to scatter around the page, but there were 3 of the big black ones that I wanted to make sure I used 3 and they were scattered around the page evenly. And then the rest of the sequins you'll see here, I'm just going to scoop them all up and then sprinkle them randomly. And for the most part, on the background where they land is where they get stuck. I do take the ones that landed on the photo off, and I take the ones that landed on the title off, and I re-sprinkle them. But I do not make you watch me do all of that. You can see here I'm using my Pick Me Up tool and my Scotch Tacky Glue, and I'm just sticking those in place, making sure I didn't miss any. And I think I'm going to finish off, yeah, so I'm just going to finish this off. I'm just going to add my ATG to the back of this star and then stick that down. You can't really see exactly what I'm doing there, but I've got the long threads on there still, and I didn't want those to be stuck down, so I'm just lifting those up and sticking those down in a way that I'm happy with. I'm coming in with those silver stars that I kept aside. I'm just going to sprinkle those. And you can see I've got the J and the H on the star, and I come in with one of these little puffy hearts as well. Again, making sure that I'm not sticking down that thread. And then that is that page done. Here is a close-up. I really love that. I'm really impressed with that one. And then a close-up of the other one. Here you go. I really love how this came together. I just need to sit down with pen and paper, I think, just showing you how that shaker pocket works. And with a pen and paper and do my journaling. Like I said, it is probably going to be quite sentimental. I will probably cry while I write it because that's just the kind of person I am, and I'm okay with that. So yeah, lots of close-ups. The first two you saw were the two individual pages, and then this one is the two of them together. I'm pretty sure that's how they're going to sit in the album. Unless my journaling goes onto the back, in which case the journaling will go, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing yet. Got to work that out. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please make sure you leave them below. Make sure you head over to the Cut to You store. This cut file is super awesome. I love it. And there is so many different elements to this cut file. I could quite easily probably make another 2 or 3 layouts with just cutting the file once. So fun. I love it. I'm off to cut some October files, which is very exciting for me. You will find out in a couple of weeks. Thank you ever so much for stopping by, and I'll be back again soon with another share, and I look forward to seeing you then.